Hey guys, Mr. West here. I got a question for you. Do you think that your thoughts are yours? Do you think that you are your mind? I was listening to Tony Robbins today, and he says that our thoughts are not our thoughts and that we are not our mind. And I thought that was pretty interesting because I always thought that my thoughts were mine. And I guess I've never really put much thought into whether or not I was my mind. But, as I was listening to that, it got my mind just kind of popping a little bit. I kind of stopped listening to what he was saying, and I just kind of let my thoughts kind of go. And started thinking like, well, who am I then? If I'm not my mind, who am I? I started thinking, well, maybe I'm the person that observes my thoughts, and that my mind is something that I use, kind of like my body. I use my body like a vehicle. It's like a tool, basically. And so maybe my mind itself, my brain, my mind, whatever, maybe it's just a tool. And if that's the case, then like, where am I at in this whole thing? That's what I'm wondering. Like, inside this body, I understand I'm not my body. I'm the person that's inside the body. That I can understand. But what I can't understand is who I am inside here. And maybe some of you guys, some of you deep thinkers, shed some light on that, or what you guys think about it. It just seems a bit too hard for me to understand right now, but it's a rabbit hole that I'm going down because this channel, I think that it's kind of classified as a sobriety channel, but it's not. This is not a sobriety channel. I've been sober for 6 months, yesterday actually, 6 months to the day. And I could talk about how I got sober and what it's been like being alcohol free, but I don't think that those really warrant too much explanation. I mean, I don't even know that I need to make a video about how I quit drinking. I could just tell you right now, the way that I quit drinking was I made a decision, and then I started to educate myself, and then I applied the things that I learned. And I learned that I'm going to be susceptible to alcoholism or alcohol use disorder my whole life. So I have finally come to the understanding that I can't drink. And as long as I continue to apply the things that I've learned, and the cool thing is I don't have to learn like a million different things. I have a couple of things that keep me on track, and I do those things. And I've relapsed a lot of times in my life, and I've learned something new every single time. So I don't have to go back and relearn lessons, and I'm 41. So I don't have a whole lot of time left to be gambling with my health and my family and my future and things like that. And the way that I stay alcohol free is every day that I remind myself of that. Hey, I'm not like other people. I'm like the alcoholics. We have a lot of power inside of us, but we have a certain affliction, we have a certain weakness, and our ability to I hate when your mind does that. You just draw a blank on something that's so easy, right? But no, it's just every day I remind myself. No, I don't even remind myself. Every day I just get up and I do a certain system. I conduct myself a certain way every day. Every single day I get up and I work out. Actually, even before I do that, my process is like, I open my eyes. I say thank you for the day. I put my feet on the floor. I go to the bathroom. I go pee. I turn on the cold water for my shower. I take my cold shower. I go and I shave and I brush my teeth. I get myself ready for the day. I go downstairs to my back porch. I get on the ground and I do my push-ups, or I get on this Bowflex that I'm sitting on right now and I do, whatever the workout is that day, or I go right over there and I start hitting that punching bag. I have a company to run, So I get up. After my workout, I go and get myself scheduled for the day, plot out what it is that I need to do that day, and then I go to work on making sure that I do those things. When I get off work, it is family time. Whatever me and my family are deciding to do that day, that's what we're doing. Now, every single evening about between 6 and 7, I kind of drift away by myself. Usually come back out here on this back porch and I do some thinking. I might get a little quick workout in, but what I'm doing when I'm doing the thinking is my self-talk. I'm just reflecting, and I'm reflecting in a positive way. Even if something negative happened that day, I will reflect on it for what it was and how it made me feel. And if I need to get in a workout or something like that to change how I feel, I will do that. I've learned that it is intelligent and it is unintelligent. It is unintelligent to stay in a shitty state of mind. And it is intelligent to switch from a shitty state of mind to a beautiful or a positive state of mind. And it's intelligent because the longer you sit in that shitty state of mind, the longer it is that you could have been doing something that was positive or bringing you joy and peace. And so, since my peace is very important to me, and because I'm trying to move forward, I want to grow. I don't want to sit in a shitty state of mind any longer than I need to. It's kind of like a shitty diaper. Some people get really addicted to that feeling of being in a shitty diaper, but it's a shitty diaper. It's unintelligent to sit in that shitty diaper. Even if you're super used to it, it doesn't matter. It's a shitty diaper and you're sitting in it, and it's unintelligent. Okay, so you change the diaper and you start feeling better, and then when you feel better, you do better, right? So I don't complicate it. This isn't a complicated thing. That's what I used to do when I was younger. I would complicate it. I would look for loopholes. I would side with my feelings and shit like that. Fuck my feelings. I don't care how I feel. It doesn't matter how I feel. And if I'm feeling the wrong way, then I take it upon myself to change that feeling. I'm not going to live in a shitty state of mind. I'm not. And when I watch other content creators, I was watching, I don't want to say the person's name, because what I'm getting ready to say is a little bit, they might take it disrespectfully. I don't mean it disrespectfully, but it is what it is. I go on someone's live the other day, and one of the questions that somebody asked that person, because this person was struggling, they relapsed, and they had been for a while, and so now they're going through withdrawals because they're trying to quit drinking again, and so they feel completely shitty. And somebody asked this person, what was the core issue? What's the core issue of all this? Like, why do you feel like you keep going back, basically? And the first couple of responses were what I would consider core issue things. After that, it was just thing after thing after thing after thing after thing. And to me, it just was clear as day. It was an identity thing. You still identify with this shit. You still identify as, a person that these things even affect. You haven't changed your identity. You haven't pictured a compelling future for yourself. And you are not conducting yourself as if your higher self was calling the shots. You're not doing that. What you're still doing is still siding with your old identity. And you're going to continue to have the same exact results. The longer you do that, because I did the same thing. Like I said, I relapsed so many times. And like I said, I learned something new along the way every time. And what I learned basically along the way is I was being a bitch. I chalk it up to it was my age and inexperience. I didn't actively seek out education on how to overcome this addiction. I kept trying to do it on my own with my own thinking. And so, I would learn things, but it would be after bumping my head and bumping my head and bumping my head. And yes, you can learn that way, but it's not necessary to learn that way. So that's just how I learned. And so I sit here and I watch these people. I'm like, I see myself in them. I see my younger self in them. And they've not gone through the things that I've gone through. I already know this one thing, especially with watching that young man that I was watching the other day. He was on live for like 5 hours. And anybody who knows people in the alcohol free community and stuff. You know who I'm talking about. He was on there for just hours, and I just seen my younger self in him. He's not caused enough pain yet. He's not been through enough pain yet. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I really don't. You've not caused enough pain yet. And the shitty thing is we don't have to get to that point. We can quit sooner. There is information available. You do have it inside you to do it. It's going to be painful, and you don't want to go through the pain. But someone's calling on my phone right now, so it always distracts me whenever I see something come across the screen. Yeah, no, I just I don't complicate it, and that's what I see people do. That's kind of why I am the way I am, where I'll just be so blunt and direct, is because I know that I'm not going back to drinking. Okay, I know that for sure. Like I said, I've reached 41. I'm one of the lucky people who drank as much as I did, and just fucking running and gunning and fighting and fucking and all that stuff. All that stupid younger version of myself. I did all of that stuff, and I got hurt, but I didn't get hurt to the point where everything is still intact. And especially, the surprising thing is my mind is still intact. As much of an amusement park as I treated my mind and my body, it's very surprising. But, that's why I don't mind trying to motivate people and telling them what they probably already know. I don't care. I know that you already know it. That's why I'm talking to you the way that I do, because I know that you already know. But I don't mean it in any disrespect. I'm not trying to be a tough guy or any bullshit like that. But, it was the few people that were direct with me. They didn't have to be disrespectful, but they didn't beat around the bush, and they certainly didn't coddle me. They just told me, hey, you got it inside you to do this. You need to get around the right fucking people. You need to start, applying things, learning how things work. And then you need to start applying that shit and stop being a bitch. You're better than that. You're not a bitch. So pick an identity. Pick an identity. I don't care if you have to draw it on a piece of paper. Some people can't form images in their mind, apparently. Okay, I don't care. Right? Draw a shitty drawing on a piece of paper. I don't care. Draw what you want to look like, where you want to be, what you want to be doing, what kind of influence you want to have. Be very detailed about who it is that you want to become. Okay, because I know you want to quit drinking because you want to get better. You want to feel better. You want to do better. All that good stuff. Okay, so your highest self is already doing those things. When you stop trying to call the shots and you start paying attention to your higher version and how they would conduct themselves, you'll be just fine. But as long as you keep on holding on to that ego and I'll get around to it, or I still got time, you don't know how much time you got left, man. You could be a young man, young woman, and think just like I thought. And maybe you might get lucky like me. Maybe you might reach 41, never having killed nobody, drinking and driving, have any real lasting health issues, or I have relationships I can't ever salvage. They're just, it is what it is. Okay, but you can do it. You can. If I can do it, you can do it. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day on purpose. And I hope you choose who you're going to be on purpose. And I hope you choose what direction you're going to go on purpose. And I hope that the next time you come online, you say, here's what I did. Here's where I'm going. Here's who I'm choosing to be. And you stick with that shit. Anyhow, have a great rest of your day on purpose. God bless you. I'm out of here, you guys.